Sergeant Emma Carter had survived war zones, but nothing had prepared her for the battlefield of civilian life. Once a soldier in the U.S. Army, she had faced enemy fire, endless deployments, and the crushing weight of responsibility. Now she was just another struggling veteran, forgotten, invisible, and running out of options. Dozens of job applications, dozens of rejections. Each one chipped away at the confidence the military had built in her. Employers saw the word veteran and made their own assumptions. Damaged, unstable, too rigid for corporate culture. No one saw the leader behind the uniform. Her savings were nearly gone. Sitting in her small, dimly lit apartment, Emma turned on the television. A live press conference filled the screen. President Donald Trump was speaking, just a few blocks away. Her heart skipped. One last shot, one desperate idea. Maybe, just maybe, if she could reach him, everything could change. She grabbed her coat and stepped into the cold Washington, D.C. night. The city buzzed with movement. Cars honked. People rushed past. Emma walked toward the press conference venue, heart pounding. The idea of confronting the President of the United States was insane. But what was the alternative? Sitting in her apartment, waiting for another rejection email, she tightened her grip on her worn bag. Her military uniform had been replaced with jeans and a plain jacket, but she still carried herself like a soldier. She had served her country with pride. Why couldn't she serve again? Security was tight outside the venue. Reporters pushed forward. Cameras flashed. Emma hesitated for only a second. Then she moved. Inside the packed press room, polished journalists held neatly typed questions. Emma sat among them, palms sweaty, throat dry. The president spoke about the economy, foreign policy, national security. Important topics. None of them were about people like her. The final question was asked. The moderator prepared to end the conference. Now or never. Emma shot to her feet. Mr. President. Her voice was strong, commanding, the voice of someone trained to be heard over gunfire. The entire room turned. Cameras locked onto her face. Secret Service agents stiffened. Trump looked up, surprised. Who are you? She swallowed hard. Sergeant Emma Carter, U.S. Army. Silence. I need a job, sir. A hush fell over the room. Trump leaned forward. Why can't you find one? Emma took a breath. Because no one wants to hire a soldier. Murmurs spread through the crowd. You serve this country, Trump said slowly. And no one will give you a job? Emma nodded. The moment companies see veteran on my resume, they hesitate. Some think I have PTSD. Others assume I can't adapt. I gave everything to this country. Now I feel discarded. Trump glanced at his advisors, then back at her. What do you want? A chance, Emma said. That's all. Let me prove myself. Trump tapped his fingers on the podium. Then he nodded. Come up here. Gasps filled the room. Emma walked past stunned reporters and stopped at the stage, standing at attention. What did you do in the Army? Trump asked. I led a logistics team. Sir, coordinated supplies and operations. Trump turned to his staff. Is there a place in this administration for someone like her? An advisor hesitated. We'd need to review her. She's a veteran. That's qualification enough. Trump cut in. He looked back at Emma. How about working at the Department of Veterans Affairs? Help fix the system from the inside. Emma's breath caught. Yes, sir. You start Monday. The room erupted. Within hours, the moment went viral. President hires struggling veteran on the spot. Desperate plea becomes bold move. Some called it inspiring. Others called it political theater. Emma didn't care. This wasn't about politics. This was about purpose. That night, she watched the clip replay on every channel. Her phone buzzed nonstop. Old squad mates, family members, strangers thanking her for speaking up. Still, doubt lingered. She had survived wars. But could she survive Washington? Monday morning came fast. Dressed in a crisp blazer and slacks, Emma walked into the Department of Veterans Affairs. Skeptical eyes followed her. A middle-aged man with glasses approached. You're the soldier the president handpicked, he said flatly. Welcome to bureaucracy. Emma shook his hand. I'm here to work. Where do I start? He handed her a thick stack of reports. Veteran claims backlog. Emma looked down at the mountain of paperwork. Then she smiled. She had faced worse. This was just another battlefield, and she was ready to fight. Emma sat at her desk and flipped through the files. Hundreds of names, hundreds of stories. Veterans waiting months, sometimes years, for benefits. Some were homeless. Others watched their medical conditions worsen, while their paperwork sat untouched. Her jaw clenched. This wasn't inefficiency. This was failure. These men and women had risked everything, and the system had abandoned them. Emma drew a slow breath. If she could survive combat, she could survive this, and she was starting today. She spent hours digging into the system. The bureaucracy was suffocating. Endless forms, outdated procedures, and a poisonous attitude. This is just how it is. She met a Vietnam veteran named Hank, who had been waiting 3 years for his disability claim. "I stopped checking," Hank said quietly. "They always tell me it's in review." Emma felt her fists tighten. Unacceptable. She marched straight into her supervisor's office. Why is a veteran waiting 3 years for basic benefits? Her supervisor barely looked up. Processing takes time. Not 3 years. He sighed. "You're new. You'll learn how slow things move here." Emma didn't blink, or I'll learn how to speed them up. That night, she stayed late, going through case after case. She didn't have authority yet, but she had persistence. And sometimes persistence was more dangerous than power. Not everyone appreciated her determination. Some VA officials dismissed her as just a soldier with no government experience. Others avoided her, hoping she'd burn out. One senior administrator sneered. "You think you can fix this overnight? This is Washington, not the battlefield." Emma met his stare. "You're right. On the battlefield, things get done faster." She knew she was making enemies. She also knew why. When people say change is impossible, what they usually mean is they don't want it to happen. So she worked harder. She built relationships with veterans' organizations, collected testimonies, compiled data, created undeniable evidence that the system was broken. She wasn't there to play politics. She was there to fight for forgotten. A week later, her phone rang. "Sergeant Carter? The president wants to see you." Her stomach tightened. Had she pushed too far? In the Oval Office, Trump leaned back in his chair. "You're making waves," he said, a slight smirk forming. "Good ones." Emma swallowed. "Sir, I'm just doing what needs to be done." "That's exactly why I brought you here," he replied. "I want you to take this nationwide. No more delays. No more excuses. You're getting the authority to make real change." Emma felt her pulse thunder. This wasn't just a job anymore. This was a mission. With new authority, Emma launched an aggressive initiative, fast-tracking claims, partnering with private companies to hire veterans, and expanding access to mental health services. She personally visited VA hospitals, exposing poor conditions that had been ignored for years. Some officials tried to block her. She went straight to the press. "These men and women serve this country," Emma said. "We do not have the right to fail them." Public support exploded. Congress was forced to act. Policies began to change. A moment of desperation had become a national movement. The work came at a cost. Late nights, endless meetings, constant pressure. Some days, Emma felt herself fading. One evening, her phone buzzed. Her mom. "When's the last time you slept?" Emma couldn't remember. Then she thought of Hank, who had finally received his benefits. She thought of thousands of others who soon would. She wiped her tired eyes and kept going. Messages poured in, emails, letters, visits. A young Marine named Jake stood in her office one morning. "I saw you on TV," he said. "I was losing hope. You changed that." That's when Emma realized something. She wasn't just fixing a system. She was restoring faith. 1 year later, Trump stood at another press conference. Emma stood beside him. "A year ago," Trump said, "this soldier asked me for a job. Today she's helped thousands of veterans get the care they deserve." The crowd erupted. Emma looked out at the sea of faces, veterans, families, people who had once felt invisible. For the first time in her life, she felt like she had won a war that truly mattered. The impact spread far beyond government. More companies began hiring veterans. Agencies streamlined processes. Public perception shifted. One day, Emma received a handwritten letter from a young woman in uniform. "Because of you, I'm not afraid of what comes after service." Emma held the letter close, tears filling her eyes. This was why she fought. Emma continued expanding programs, challenging outdated policies, and ensuring no veteran was ever forgotten again. She wasn't just a former soldier. She was a leader, a fighter, a symbol of what one voice can do. Standing at another press conference, this time as a newly appointed director of Veterans Affairs, Emma smiled. She had started as a desperate woman searching for a job. Now she was leading a movement that changed thousands of lives. The war was over, and she had won.